Ma'am, should I start?
Yeah. Start. Shall I share it from my end?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Okay.
Let me introduce you. So, Assalamu alaikum everyone, and very good afternoon. I hope you all are doing well. On the behalf of Cybersecurity Club, I warmly welcome all the participants. So, I am Hiba Amir, the event director of Cybersecurity Club. We are honored to have Dr. Ayesha Henna with us today as a guest speaker. She is an accomplished academic researcher with expertise in AI, ML, deep learning, and cybersecurity. We are truly grateful to have her join us and share her valuable knowledge and experience. So, ma'am, without any further delay, I would like to invite you to begin the session. So, ma'am, over to you. The virtual platform is all yours.
Is the screen visible, Hiba?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I am actually on mobile phone somewhere outside, so I hope the screen is visible and it is in a
Yes, ma'am, it
visible.
is. You can
Okay.
continue.
Start. Peace be upon all of us. Very good evening, everyone. As today's talk will be on ethical hacking methodology. So first of all, I would like to congratulate the Cybersecurity Club for organizing this event, and very good number of audiences are joining. I could see this, and I hope all the participants are students. So before I start with the session, I would like to present in front of you some of the learning outcomes that you are going to take as inputs today from the session. So after attending this session, you'll be able to understand what are the concepts of ethical hacking. Even I'll be discussing about the different phases of ethical hacking. You'll be able to identify common tools that are used and recognize legal and ethical responsibilities and describe reporting and remediation. To start with, first, let us see what is ethical hacking. So in this, we'll be defining ethical hacking. We'll be talking about what is the difference between ethical and non-ethical or malicious hackers, importance of ethical hacking in cybersecurity, and some of the real-world applications. So moving ahead, when we talk of hackers, we can describe the hackers into types of hackers as white hat, black hat, gray hat, script kiddies, activists, insider threats. Now, if I am talking about ethical hacking methodology, the flow goes like you may be talking about in phases which are carried out in sequential steps, starting with the phase 1 as planning and authorization. The phase 2 is reconnaissance. I hope you all are aware of these terminologies at least, because we are addressing the club that is called as Cybersecurity Club. So some of the terminologies I hope you all are aware of. So on an assumption that all of us have studied cybersecurity as a basic, I will be moving ahead. So the second phase is reconnaissance. The third phase is scanning and enumeration. And the phase 3 will be vulnerability and assessment. And in the next phase, we'll talk about exploitation and post-exploitation. Lastly, reporting and remediation. To begin with, the methodology as phase 1 talks about planning and authorization. So the basic scope of what we mean by planning and authorization is most important. Why and what are we planning for? The type of ethical hacking. Then we need to know what are the rules of engagement of when we deal with planning and authorization. The set of rules need to be followed. So what are the rules of engagement? That is the focus. And then we will have to proceed with the NDA, written permissions, and main objectives dealing with the type of ethical hacking. This togetherly is referred to as phase 1. which is talking about planning and authorization. When we move ahead with phase 2, it completely deals with reconnaissance, wherein we have to take care about passive reconnaissance, active reconnaissance, information gathering, OSINT, and some of the important tools which are used for this process or the phase 2. So some of the important tools that are coming into picture with reference to reconnaissance includes WHOIS, Google Docs, Shodan, and Multivo. Then when we move ahead with the phase 3 refers to scanning and enumeration. During phase 3, the most focus will be reviving around network scanning, port scanning, service enumeration, banner grabbing, and during this phase, some of the important tools that are used are Nmap, Netcat, and Nessus. Moving ahead, the phase 4 is talking about vulnerability assessment. So what are the vulnerabilities which we need to take care while doing ethical hacking, and how we can proceed forward with respect to vulnerability assessments. So the phase 4 begins with identifying the vulnerabilities, CVE, CVSS, risk prioritization. And the tools that are used during phase 4 are OpenVAS, Nessus, and Qualys. This is phase 4. Altogether, we are dealing with vulnerability assessment. Then comes the phase 5. Phase 5 is exploitation phase. We need to take care about controlled exploitation, proceeding with validating the vulnerabilities and the proof of concept with popular framework and Metasploit. So this is completely in view of defensive or authorized testing concepts. Because the topic is ethical hacking, or whatever we deal with is something which are with respect to a particular framework. So whatever the concepts or whatever the phases we are dealing with are purely in view of defensive, or we can say in one way it is authorized testing concepts. Whether we are talking about phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5 or phase 6, we have that in mind. We only deal with defensive and authorized testing concepts. Coming ahead to phase 6, that is after exploitation, the phase 6 is referred to as post-exploitation phase. Here, the privilege escalation, persistence of the concept, data access verification, and cleanup is used. Moving ahead with phase 7, once phase 6 is covered, I said these are all the sequential steps that are taken with respect to phases. So phase 7 is after phase 6 reporting. That is, once we are done with post-exploitation, we move ahead with reporting. Means we need to deal with the executive summary of what has been done in the previous phases. Go ahead with the technical findings of the particular type of ethical hacking. Evaluate the risk, that is giving the risk rating, screenshots, and recommendations. So altogether, if we can summarize, what are the ethical hacking tools which are used with respect to the different phases, this table would give you a complete overview of ethical hacking tools, wherein the reconnaissance phase uses WHOIS and Shodan, the scan phase uses Nmap, VA uses NS or OpenVAS, exploit, the tool used is Metasploit, web, burp suite, wireless, aircrack engine. So that is how we can put up the summary of all the ethical hacking tools with respect to the phases that we have talked about regarding ethical hacking. Because the hacking is referred to as ethical hacking, we need to point out the legal and ethical considerations that are mostly pointed in view of ethical hacking. These legal considerations include obtaining a written permission, maintain confidentiality of whatever the task is related to ethical hacking. Follow responsible disclosures, comply with applicable laws, and protect the client data. These are the important considerations that need to be taken in view of ethical hacking, and these are referred to as the legal and ethical considerations. Now, when we say hacking, so every act that is committed towards breaking into computer or network is hacking. There may be different purpose for hacking, but however, there is a distinction between what we call the term hacking versus cracking. So when we say malicious attacks on computer networks, they are officially known as cracking, not hacking. So whatever is happening maliciously, unethically, that attacks on the computer networks are actually officially known as cracking. While hacking truly applies only to activities which are proceeded with good intentions. That's why the name is also ethical hacking. Most non-technical people actually fail to make this distinction. However, outside academia, it's extremely common to see the term hack, which is misused and applied as crack as well. But I hope our participants now knew what is the difference or distinction between hacking and cracking. Moving ahead with a case study, company website assessment, if we take into case study, what are the steps taken into consideration in ethical hacking? So one such case study I have put forth. There could be many case studies, but due to time constraint, I have put forth only this one case study wherein we will be talking about company website assessment. For example, if we have this case study wherein we are doing the ethical hacking with respect to company website assessment, what is the procedure? Wherein first we define the scope for what the ethical hacking is being accomplished. Then we perform the reconnaissance. Then we discover the vulnerabilities and then prepare a report and submit the report and then fix the issues for which the ethical hacking has been referred. And then retest is completed. That is how ethical hacking is happening. We will talk about some of the best practices, that is least privilege, patch management, MFA, strong passwords, security awareness, and continuous monitoring are some of the best practices which are used in ethical hacking. So let us put together a summary of what we have discussed from the beginning of the session, where we have seen what is ethical hacking, the definition of ethical hacking, differences between hacking and cracking. Ethical hacking follows a structured methodology. We have seen it's working in phases. We have seen the different phases of ethical hacking methodology. We have seen what authorization means and how authorization is mandatory when we refer to ethical hacking. We have also seen how reporting is an important stage or important phase, just like testing. And the goal is, again, ethical hacking is not for any misuse or any malicious activity. Rather, the goal is improving security. That's all from my side. Are my audiences and participants ready if I could give a surprise quiz regarding this session? Yes, participants? Whatever I have dealt with in this past half an hour or over, more than that, are you ready for a quiz related to what you have learned in this session?
Yeah, okay, we are ready, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Audiences are very interactive. Yes. Can anyone say me what is reconnaissance? Yes? I was with an assumption that my participants have some basics of cybersecurity. That's why I didn't deal with it from scratch. I rather focused on the topic of ethical hacking methodology only. If I was aware of that you're not well versed with cybersecurity, I could have defined these all in depth from the basics. However, is there anyone in the participants who will answer the first question? Okay. Anyone able to answer any of the 5 questions? I hope the screen is visible. Hiba?
Ma'am, can you please reshare the screen because some of us are facing problem.
Okay. Is it visible now?
No, ma'am.
Since when you had this problem? Screen was not visible since how long?
No, ma'am, it's not visible. Now it is. But it was glitching.
Okay. There must be some network. Now is it visible?
Yes.
You want me to give the slideshow of what all the slides I was discussing?
Sorry, ma'am.
Since how long you had this glitch?
Ma'am, someone messaged me around, I guess, 10 minutes or 5 minutes ago.
Oh, that means they were not able to see what all I was talking about, I think.
No, they were but sometimes it was glitching. For sometimes.
But voice was clear at least? They were able to hear me?
I guess yes.
Okay, fine then. If they were able to hear me, then at least they can try for this quiz at least. Is the quiz visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Can anyone answer me any of the 5 questions from the participants? Or shall I read it out? That means it was not so pretty clear what I have talked about ethical methodology. However, these are some of the references that I have referred, like from the EC Council, CH Study Guide, and an IST Cybersecurity Framework. I have also used the OWASP Testing Guide and Penetration Testing Execution Standard for preparing the slides. And moving ahead, if I talk about ethical responsibility, use technology responsibly, I would suggest. Respect privacy. Let it be anyone. Let it be an organization. Let it be an individual. Respect privacy. Build secure systems. That is what actually needed for if we talk about ethical responsibility. So with that, I would like to end the session with these important conclusions. Ethical hacking is actually a systematic and authorized approach to identifying and addressing security weakness before they can be exploited by malicious attackers. By following a structured methodology, that is beginning with the planning and reconnaissance, progressing through vulnerability assessment and controlled testing, we can end with detailed reporting and remediation. So that is how any organization or an individual move ahead with ethical hacking procedure. So the organizations can significantly get strengthen their cyber security posture by the help of ethical hacking. Ethical hackers actually play a vital role in protecting digital assets, ensuring compliance, and building trust in today's interconnected world of internet. So as cyber threats continue to evolve, ethical hacking remains an essential practice for creating secure, resilient, and reliable information systems. With that, I would like to conclude. Hiba, are there any queries from the participants?
Ma'am, people are asking questions in the chat box. Can you see?
1 second. I'll stop sharing actually.
They are also answering your questions.
1 second. I'll see the chat. Okay. Fine. Hamna Rehan have answered to my question. Good. You could have unmuted and answered, Hamna. Is there any question? I don't find any questions. That is answer for my quiz questions, I think. Is there any doubt or any questions from the participants? It would be much pretty that if you'd have unmuted and talked to me directly, because this is how the online platform is. If I would be offline present in front of you, that would have been a different scenario. Since I am not so very visible, I was sharing the screen, so I was not even able to open my camera also. So if you can just unmute and talk, at least we can have interactions.
Ma'am, Hamna has a question. What is CVE and CVSS in phase 4? And one more person have a question. What are the biggest challenges ethical hackers face in real world organization? So there are two questions.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Okay, there's some network issue actually. It was raining, so I asked it, confirmed it. Okay, I will first like to answer this one. What are the biggest challenges the ethical hackers face, right? So ethical hackers usually face several significant challenges actually, because their job is actually protecting organizations from cyber threats. But they usually face some biggest challenges like rapidly evolving cyber threats, or maybe keeping up with the new technologies like cloud computing, IoT, blockchain, and any containerized applications which introduce new security issues for them. There is also limited scope of testing for the ethical hackers, because ethical hackers must work only within their authorized scope, which may leave some vulnerabilities untested. And another important issue that the ethical hackers face is false positives and false negatives. Just like those who are working on optimization techniques or the diagnostic researchers, they must be aware of these false positives and false negatives. So ethical hackers also face this issue of false positives and false negatives. The security tools may incorrectly identify the vulnerabilities and give it as there is a vulnerability when it is not actually existing. Or sometimes when there is vulnerability not there, they may detect it. Or sometimes it is there, they fail to detect the real ones. That is how it may require manual verification for identifying the vulnerabilities. That is another important challenge. Some of the challenges include like time and budget constraints, where the organizations often expect comprehensive security assessment for limited time and resources. And also, employees remain one of the weakest security links, making awareness and testing challenging. That is how we have the human error and social engineering, we can say. Another challenge would be balancing security and business operations. Like security testing must avoid disrupting critical business services. That's another challenge. One more challenge would be legal and compliance issues, because ethical hackers must comply with the laws, regulations, the contract that they have signed in, and obtain proper authorization before they start with the testing process. Even some zero-day vulnerabilities also could be a big challenge, because previously unknown vulnerabilities are difficult to detect and defend against patches that become available. Shall I tell about some other challenges, or I hope answer the question? Even shortage of skilled professionals is also biggest challenge for the ethical hackers. There is a growing demand for cybersecurity experts and making it difficult to build experienced security systems.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. And other question is, what is CVE and CVSS in phase 4? By Hamna.
What is?
CVE and CVSS in phase 4.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I could have typed in the full forms also, which I missed it. Thank you for the question, Hamna. This actually, when we deal with these phases, no, the phase 4, that is the common vulnerabilities exposures, is what we talk about, CVE. And when we say CVSS, actually it is common vulnerability scoring system. You have some scoring range actually. That range is between 0 to 10, where 0 refers to none of the vulnerabilities and 10 refers to critical situation of vulnerabilities. That is CVSS, that is common vulnerability scoring system. And this CVE is just common vulnerabilities and exposures. That is public catalog of known security vulnerabilities, we can say. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
That's
okay. Any other question? That was a good question. Actually, I didn't tell previously in any of my presentations. I think my core branch is electronics and communication systems, and my specialization was also in communication systems. But it so happened that after working for 21 years in an institution called KBN College of Engineering, and it was then turned into university, it's private university, KBN University. There I was working in the electronics and communication branch for 21 years. When I switched to a different university, which is also in our city only, I had an issue. I was not supposed to switch to any other city, so I came to Shanbasva University. Here at this university, they offered me job in the branch artificial intelligence and machine learning. They said that it's a budding branch in our college. We need an experienced staff for that. So, ma'am, can you join that branch? So it started. I started my career actually. The first subject that I taught in my first job position in AIML branch was cybersecurity. Actually, it started over all day from there actually. And then I have done some of the NPTEL. SWAYAM NPTEL online portal is there in India. There offers the plenty of free courses for the learners. So I have done cybersecurity and privacy course there of some weeks in the online mode in the NPTEL SWAYAM portal of India. That's a government portal. And then I have written a book on cybersecurity, and then it continued like from there my enthusiasm for cybersecurity actually evolved, I can say. One of the accomplishment of mine is I am a India Book of Record achiever, wherein that record was for 250 plus online certification programs, and among them many of the certification programs were on AI and ML. The destiny have taken me all the way from 2020 in that way only, because I was supposed to join AIML branch, I think, in future. So I did many of my online courses during lockdown, which were on AIML only, and few courses, I could say 10 to 15 courses were on cybersecurity, which increased my um, interest in cybersecurity. It would be lovely if I could hear you, Hamna. Anyways, if there is any technical issue, you're not able to unmute, then it's okay. Last question. Yes, I am not able to see. Once again, I'll check it. What it is? So you want to ask me what tools should beginners? It's like you need to first know the concepts of this. See, cyber security is a very vast subject actually. You can start your career by just knowing first what are the cyber crimes, what are the vulnerabilities, what are the possibilities of types of cyber crimes. Then we can, once we are aligned ourselves to the direction, like there could be field of cyber security wherein you work on the networks, security of the networks, security of the data, security of the path. There are so many types of cyber security. So it all depends upon how you start with. There are so many things actually. Burpsuit is there, Metasploit is there, and Map is there. Even Kali Linux is there. You need to identify what your interest works with. Then we can go ahead with that direction. Wireshark is there. It depends upon your interest actually. Sure. Hiba has got my contact number also. And I don't have the you can connect through Hiba. I'm always ready to share my experiences with such interesting people who are really interested to know and have sharing from me part of my knowledge. I would love to share my knowledge. Yeah, Hiba, you can sure.
Anyone else have any question? So I guess no question from our side. Ma'am,
I
can you
thank the organizers as well as Inamullah Khan sir, especially, and the organizers for taking these efforts, and congratulate you for this initiative. Thank you for giving me this chance, Hiba. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insightful session, sharing your experience, and thank you so much, everyone else. Have a wonderful day, and Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.